Hi, my name is Georgia Wyllie, and you're listening to How's That, the cricket podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of How's That, the cricket podcast with me, Ollie.
And me, Lily.
First of all, straight off the middle of the bat, we just want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, or a Happy Holidays, depending on how you celebrate it. Obviously, we're coming right up to Christmas now. We're right up to the festive period, which does mean a hell of a lot of cricket as well. But however you are spending the holiday period, we hope that you enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. So like we said, there's been lots going on. Unfortunately, due to Ollie being on holiday for the past couple of weeks, we have missed out on quite a bit of cricket, which we just won't be able to catch you up on because it's just been hectic. We'll run through a bit of the Big Bash and we'll briefly talk about Australia and India women. But Ollie, first of all, how was your holiday? Take us through it. How was your time off?
Yeah, it was quite nice. I listened back to all the episodes and they were brilliant as always. Obviously, very strikers heavy, but I can't complain it with you running it. That's absolutely fine. But no, it was a lot of fun. Still watched a bit of cricket. Obviously, watched the cricket version of The Shining with Jack Leach's head. I watched Joe Root batting left-handed. And I watched the Stars lose to a team who then got bowled out for 15 3 days later. So the Big Bash is back. The men's Big Bash is back when Stars are doing Starsy things. But no, it's been a lot of fun. Nice to just relax and good to be back recording episodes. So this is a very special episode, particularly for you, Lily, because this episode is actually number 50 in the How's That, the cricket podcast history. So Lily, congratulations. Obviously, I haven't been on board for all 50, but the amount of work you've put in has been pretty damn incredible. So raise the bat, halfway there to a ton. So, we've got to get there. But, raise the bat, celebrate. I don't know how else you're going to celebrate it, but massive congratulations on the milestone. It's been a lot of fun for the time that I've been involved. So, but you've done a lot of great work. So massive congratulations. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, it's actually flown by. I can't believe we've done 50 episodes already. Like that's 50 weeks of interviews and chatting cricket, which is absolutely mental. But obviously, I think you've been around for half of it, I reckon. You jumped on board in 25, 26, something like that. So obviously you're halfway to your 50. So hopefully you'd want to stick around and stick it out to 50 of yours. But yeah.
I jumped on board episode 24. It was my first one that I was introduced in. So I missed the first 23. Number 24 I hopped on board, so I've only made it to what this will be 26, and obviously I've been absent in some of those as well, so I need to get a move on. You've been hogging the strike, so you need to rotate the strike a little bit more, and I need to get some runs on the board because it's been a really slow start to the innings.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. 50. Obviously huge thank you to everyone who listens. I think that's amazing, and thank you to you for helping me out every week and for co-hosting this with me. It's brilliant, and I really enjoy chatting cricket with you each week and interviews and everything. It's incredible, so thank you for everything you do for it as well. But thank you to everyone listening. Like I said, it's hugely appreciated. I can't believe it is where it is at right now. It's absolutely mental. If you would have told me first couple of days of January last year that I'd be interviewing cricketers each week and that this would be something that people listen to, I'd say you're lying, because it's absolutely incredible. So huge thank you to everyone who's stuck around all year. It's been amazing. But should we get stuck into cricket?
I think we should.
So Big Bash, it's been interesting to say the least. It has definitely been interesting. It's been all over the shop. We'll just get going right off the bat with the very first game, which was your Stars versus the Sydney Thunder, who we will get to in a minute because the Thunder are interesting, that's for sure. The first game, it was close. It came down to a singular bye at the end, which won the Thunder the match, with Joe Clark missing that one. Did you manage to watch that game, and what did you think of that one?
I did manage to watch it because KO works outside of Australia, which I didn't think it would, but it does if you've got a subscription. So I watched it. Again, I said to you that it just brought back WBBL flashbacks of the Scorchers game when we were below par with the bat, brilliant with the ball, and my heart got ripped out in the last couple of overs, or the last over in this case. So instead of Annabelle Sutherland, who was so unlucky in that game, it was Joe Clark completely missing the ball. So that's the life of a Stars fan. As a Strikers fan, obviously, you're celebrating after the back of the WBBL, and I'm not celebrating at all. I mean, we've had a win since, but it was frustrating. We were like really bad with the bat, I thought. But with the ball, I thought we were decent, a lot of positives, and we've had a game since then, which we managed to win. So put it behind us, move on, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, and obviously you mentioned the strikers. Now, second game was between the Adelaide Strikers and the Sydney Sixers. Strikers batting first, scoring 184 for 6 off their 20, which was a really good score, actually. Like, obviously coming in from last year, and the women, we had such a bowler heavy attack and we struggled with the bat, but now we're a bit stronger with the bat. I think it's fair to say we've recruited some pretty good people. So look, we got off to a bit of a tough start, losing a really early wicket in Jake Weatherald for one, but Matt Short, how brilliant has Matt Short been? He scored 84 in his first match. And then Chris Lynn with a little handy 41 off his 34. And Adam Hose actually came in with a quick fire 40 off 22, which was really good. And then, that kind of carried us over the line there with those two scores. But a good win by the Strikers in that first game. And it's got us off to a really good start for the season, I think.
Yeah, certainly. We said with Matt Short, it's the how's that thing, isn't it? It's the reverse curse. I don't even know what you'd call it. Because it's not a curse at all with Matt Short. Get him on the podcast and he has a blinding start to the season. Because it's a Christmas episode, can we go Adam Hose? Can we go with that? Can we run with that? I was trying to search for a Christmas pun to throw in there. Hopefully there's a couple of more across the episode, but we'll run with that. He's been so good to start the season for the Strikers, and your man, or one of your men, you've got quite a lot of BBL players you seem to idolise. We'll get into more of those in the episode, but Mr. Thornton, he's been incredible to start the season, hasn't he?
So good. And like, what a signing. Last year when we were struggling with COVID, everyone was like, who? What? Like, no one knows who he is because he was playing club cricket in Melbourne and all of a sudden he's taking wickets left, right and centre for the Strikers. It's incredible. He obviously did so well last year for us and they signed him on, and I'm so glad we did because he has been incredible. He hasn't gone wicketless yet. So in the first game he took 4, and then moving on to the second game, incredible. Obviously, before that, it was the Renegades and the Brisbane Heat. Renegades beating the Heat by 22 runs. Nick Maddinson scoring a handy 87 there, which helped the Renegades over the line. And then it was the Melbourne Stars and the Hobart Hurricanes. Stars actually winning by 38 runs. You got a couple of points on the board there. Did you manage to catch up on that one as well?
No, I was on the plane at this point on the way back from Thailand after a 13-hour flight delay because of Jetstar. So I would have been in the country had it arrived on time. But no, it didn't. So I was on the plane and I checked as I got off the plane, and I arrived back to the Stars winning and the Thunder being bowled out for 15. So it was quite eventful. And Bo Webster, shout out to Bo Webster. I know Joe Clark made a ton, but I just want to give a mention to Bo Webster. That shot, I've not seen much like it ever. He's middled that into like almost the third tier of the MCG. It was incredible to watch. And obviously nice to see the Stars get a win. Great tributes for Warney as well. It's the first men's Big Bash since his passing, rest in peace, Warney, and all that. It was really nice to see him, the tributes made to him, Stars retiring the 23. It was beautiful to see all that. So nice to get a win in honour of Warney as well.
Yeah, and I mean, good batting from Joe Clark as well with 101, I think, which definitely carried the Stars over the line. But yeah, then like you said, the next game. Now, this is the game that has been the talk around the world. I think I looked at my Twitter the next morning and not a single tweet for ages was like not about this. So Adelaide Strikers versus Sydney Thunder at Spotless Stadium. Batting first, we were 9 for 139 at the end of our 20, and I'm thinking this is not too brilliant. This is not a brilliant score. I think many people can chase this down. Definitely under par. Top score coming from Chris Lynn with 36. Sydney Thunder all out for 15 off 5.5. Alex Hale's duck, Matthew Jilk's duck, Jason Sanger duck, Chris Green duck, Gurinder Sandhu duck. Their highest scorer was Brendan Doggett with 4, and he hit a boundary, and it was an edge, an outside edge for a boundary. What is going on? Henry Thornton with 5 for 3 off his 2.5, Wes Agar with 4 for 6 off 2, and Matt Short with 1 for 5 off his first over.
The first thing I want to say, get Brendan Doggett up the order, get him opening the batting.
Yeah.
Because how you can high score at 11 off the back of one scoring shot is unreal. Obviously, as we record this, the Thunder have played a couple more games since then, and they played one against the Strikers last night as we record this. And I was in a group chat, and a Thunder fan I was speaking to said it was 10 times better than the other night. And I just couldn't believe that. Obviously, when you say it's 10 times better, it's an exaggeration. it genuinely wasn't an exaggeration. I
No.
found that hilarious.
Yeah.
But I said to you yesterday, we recorded this yesterday and the file went walkabout, that I said if you had 10 chances to get more than 15, I reckon you could have done it. I reckon you could have done it. I don't think I could have, but I reckon if we gave you a bat, gave you a helmet, I reckon you could. I'd back you in to score more than 15.
Oh goodness. I don't know.
Well,
maybe.
Of course, hypothetically, of course, I doubt we're ever going to see it.
Yes, I'd hope not. But yeah, it's something that the commentary team said was, I can't even remember who it was, but one of them said, this is an under 10 scorecard. And I'm like, actually, that's a bit offensive to under 10s because under 10s score more than 15. I can guarantee you that. So I think many under 10s out there listening to this commentary would be quite offended to be compared to the Sydney Thunder being all out for 15.
Yeah, and you brought up a tweet yesterday as well, didn't you? Saying that, being a Thunder fan and seeing that the men's and women's BBL teams both collapse. And then the retraction was, sorry for lumping in the women's team with whatever that was or something like that.
Yeah, that was Megan Morris's tweet. It was really funny because it's like, how dare I put the women in the same category as the Thunder men, because it's just atrocious. But yeah, honestly, like still quite speechless. Like I still haven't got the words for it, but it was so funny because obviously last night they rematched at Adelaide Oval, and when they passed 15, it was the biggest cheer from the crowd. It was like the most sarcastic cheer and clap. It was actually so funny. Like I think they hit a 4, which got them past 15, and it was just like it erupted. It was so funny. And obviously it being a Strikers home crowd, it was very sarcastic, but yeah, loved it. And good to get the win over them again last night. But let me tell you, that boosted our net run rate that game for sure. We're looking really good after that. But yeah, all out for 15. We won by 124 runs, which was just incredible. And then the next game was Scorchers and Sixers. Scorchers winning by 38 runs. And then Thunder and Renegades. Renegades winning by 4 wickets. Hurricanes, Scorchers. Hurricanes winning by 8 runs, which was a bit of an uneasy game because Scorchers definitely should have had that one in the bag, but then lost it last minute, which was disappointing. And then, yeah, like I said, last night's game, Strikers and Thunder, us winning by 6 wickets with 8 balls left. Matt Short was player of the match again with 65 of 44. Really well played by him. And then players just kind of assisting him around. Nicely played by Alex Hales, though. He did do well, and it's a lot better than the duck he got in the game before. But yeah, good win from the Strikers. Henry Thornton again with 2 wickets in the bag. So good. So good. What can I say?
Yeah, and I realised off the back of last night as well that you're a massive fan of Ollie Davies. I didn't realise that. So now being that your second favourite Ollie associated with cricket is
I'm surprised you didn't know.
Bit harsh.
I've been a big day one Ollie Davies fan, I must say. Like I before he came into the Big Bash, I think you know how when you go on Instagram messages and it says you've been following this account since whatever, it says I've been following his account since 2019, which is a long time. And we've got this thing where we get an annual photo, me and Ollie, each year. We've had a couple over the years, and he remembers me each time, and I'm like, yep, still me. Back again. But
nice.
Yeah, you may see some incoming talk over the next coming weeks. I'm not gonna say too much, but if you are a Thunder fan, if there still are Thunder fans,
hey, the Thunder Nation still exists. They're not jumping off the bandwagon. Come on,
if there are
respect
some
the Thunder fans. Come on, they've been through enough.
If there are some Thunder fans, stay tuned for the next couple of weeks because you may be getting some good chat in soon. But yeah, that's the Big Bash up to date. The leaderboard's looking pretty Strikers heavy, I must say. So Strikers sitting in first, playing 3, winning 3 on 6 points. Then it's Renegades, Stars in third, Scorchers, Hurricanes, Thunder, Heat, and Sixers in last. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's going pretty good, but I can't say anything because, like we said, the Sixers and the women were winning, and then fell at the last hurdle. So I don't want to speak too soon, but I like where this is going at the moment.
We've also got the Australia-India series. There's been a lot more cricket, which we'll just brush over after this, but we're going to go into this one in a bit more depth because it's been a pretty cool series, the Australia and India women's series. First of all, to see 45,000 at one game of cricket was awesome. Shout out Heather Graham, even though she got a bit unlucky with that super over, which Australia lost a game. Let's not gloss over that. Australia lost a game of cricket for the first time since about 1837. Oh, that's how it seems anyway. Took a hat-trick overnight as well. So shout out Heather Graham, who got a debut on the tour, as did Kim Garth, Phoebe Litchfield. Don't think I'm missing anybody. But Australia winning that one 4-1. They did in the 5 T20s that they played, and they ended up losing the second one in the Super Over, which was crazy to think that Australia can actually lose. They are human. They are not invincible. But yeah, great series for Australia. Also in international cricket, we've had Australian men beating West Indies. We've had England beating Pakistan in a 3-match series with a whitewash. That was an incredible series. We had Australia beating South Africa in the first test, and we had England doing a full whitewash in the West Indies in the women's game, which was awesome to see. So a lot of cricket. That's a brief rundown. We also had some WNCL as well, with South Australia winning a couple of games over ACT. But it's been bonkers, and I think we tried to recap it yesterday, and it took us like 3/4 of an hour. So we're going to try and condense it a bit more.
Yeah, obviously we can make a couple of shout outs. A shout out to Rayan Ahmed for England, who took a 5 for making, I think he's broken the record as the youngest one, because Pat Cummins was holding that record, and I think he's passed that record now by holding that. So yeah, big shout out there. Like you said, Phoebe Litchfield, Heather Graham and Kim Garth were all making their debuts and getting those games really, really good to see. Obviously, Kim Garth as well, obviously being a former Ireland international, but sacrificing quite a lot to move over to Australia and make a career in Australian international cricket is pretty cool. And then also disappointing news for Alice Capsey and Freya Kemp in the England women's camp. Alice Capsey broke her collarbone fielding a ball early in the ODI series, and Freya Kemp is out with a stress fracture. So all the best for them, hoping for speedy recoveries. And Alyssa Healy and Jess Jonathan, who are also out, sending all our best wishes to all of those girls. I'm sure they'll come back stronger. But yeah, like you said, to touch on WNCL, Scorpions and ACT took on each other in 2 games. South Australia winning the first one by 98 runs, so quite a confident win there. Maddie Penner was player of the match with 98 not out. Anya O'Neill with a really handy 74 not out as well. It's good to see her in the runs column. And then Katie Mack with 79 for ACT, Rebecca Carter with 29, but that was kind of it from the ACT squad. Kate Peterson with 3 wickets and Gemma Barsby with 3 wickets also. A good debut from Inisu Mishangwe and Paris Hall, who both made their debuts for South Australia yesterday. Paris took a catch, which was really good to see. And then in the second game, they also won by 68 runs this time. So yeah, really good to see Scorpions up there. New South Wales took on Tasmania winning the first game by 10 wickets, which was a pretty convincing win there, to say the least, and then winning the second game as well by 7 wickets. Big shout out to Claire Moore, actually, who's done really, really well for New South Wales. She scored 60 in this second game, which was a much needed 60 because everyone else struggled to put together scores around her, but she kind of steadied the ship for New South Wales, and it was unfortunate she couldn't get the team over the line there. And in the first game, she also scored the highest score of 29. So yeah, good to see one of the younger players out there doing well for their state. But yeah, that's the WNCL. The ladder's looking relatively similar, I think. Queensland in first, SA second, Tassie third, Western Australia fourth, New South Wales fifth, Victoria 6th and ACT 7th. So yeah, that's the WNCL. And I think that's all our cricket. So should we move on to a bit more festive stuff?
Yeah, let's do it. We've got some Christmas questions. We asked our previous interviewees just some Christmas festive themed things, like what's your favourite movie, favourite tradition, all that kind of stuff. So to get you in the mood for Christmas, which is just a few days away as this is released, here are some cricket Christmas questions from some of our past guests.
Do you have a favourite Christmas film?
Oh, I love Home Alone, but is that counted as a Christmas one?
I'd say so. Yeah.
Christmas.
Lock it in.
The Grinch is probably up there for a kids one, and then probably The Holidays, my other one.
Okay, nice.
Be the best two. Rom-com, comedy, covers all bases.
Probably Elf.
Oh, I don't really watch too many Christmas movies, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, back in the day, it used to be I'll Be Home for Christmas, because I think Jonathan Taylor Thomas was in it, and he was a favourite of mine growing up.
Home Alone, and it's not only my favourite Christmas movie, it's just my favourite movie of all time.
Probably Elf.
Do you have a favourite Christmas memory?
It'd probably be back when I was a lot younger, and just the hours, obviously summer Christmas, spending it out on the barbecue, out in the backyard playing cricket with the family, usually not getting a bat because my brother or my dad would be hogging it. But those sort of memories are really special, of being able to spend time with family and enjoying each other's company.
I wouldn't say one particular. I love Christmas. It's one of my favourite times of year. Me and Mum are the two in our family that go all out, and every year she says she's going to downsize in presents and I say no, so we don't.
So a few years ago, me and my sister got given kayaks for Christmas, and it was Christmas morning and we went down to the river and we're kayaking on these canoes and these dolphins just started jumping over our kayaks. It was the coolest day.
Well, our tradition in our family is on Christmas Day to make it the biggest day ever. So we catch up with Mum and Dad's side of the family, one for lunch and one for dinner. So that's definitely, over the years as the family has grown and grown and grown, it's can be quite loud, as you can imagine. But we always do a Christmas photo in the wrapping. After you've unwrapped all your presents, that all goes into the middle and all the kids hop in the paper for the Christmas shot. So that's always a fond memory of mine. But yeah, it always ends up being some backyard cricket and those types of things also mixed in amongst it. But yeah, my greatest memories of just when we just have all the family around lunch and then into tea. So it makes for a big day. So by the time Boxing Day comes around, you sit down to watch the Test match. Yeah, you're definitely a bit tired.
Me and my mum made Christmas shots for everyone, and we made them wear them. We just got like these stick-on felt reindeers and like little pom-poms, and they weren't like the prettiest Christmas shirts, but they were very Christmassy.
Yeah, love it.
And the same Christmas, my uncle was there, and he worked in a pub his whole life, so he was making cocktails for us all day, and it was just a good day.
I love Christmas. I just think it's so great. Being one of 5, just some of my favourite memories are just being in the living room so early when we were all really, really young. And we all sort of had our own section of the living room. Someone had the couch and then someone had over near the TV, and we all had our stockings and our own little area. And I just remember everyone just going ham and just unwrapping things, and you literally couldn't walk through the living room. There was just paper all over the floor. And when I think of Christmas, that's sort of what I think of. It's obviously very different now, but back in the day, that's definitely a favourite.
Do you have a favourite Christmas food or a traditional food in your family?
No, my mum's a bit of a feeder, so she cooks everything under the sun. So there's usually a bit of everything, but trifle is usually, as long as that's on the menu, I'm usually okay.
We have a big Christmas lunch every year that normally Mum's side and then Dad's side's Boxing Day, but Mum's one of 13, so there's usually between 30 and 40 people there, so it's pretty massive. And just a good time and a lot of drinks and a lot of fun.
My mum makes an incredible spinach and ricotta cannelloni, and so every Christmas she makes that for me, and so I think that is up there with my favourite time of the year.
Oh, we always have a hot roast lunch and Christmas pudding, and I know that's very what a lot of families would do, but it's definitely hot roast lunch, lamb or chicken or beef or turkey or whatever it ends up being, but yum.
I wouldn't say there's any traditions, but we definitely do like to make the cocktails, so it's a time where we get a bit experimental with the spirits.
The whole thing, we do Christmas lunch, and just my mum does crumbed cauliflower, and it's unreal. It's so good. We just have it with the roast, and it's one of my favourites. And of recent years, my brother's partner, she makes sticky date puddings, and they're the go. They're so good.
When do you put up your Christmas tree?
It's a hard one for me to discuss this because I'm usually on the road so much, so I don't spend too much time at home. So I'd say if you can get it up a couple of days before Christmas. My biggest concern is when do you take it down, because once it gets into January, you need to sort your Christmas tree down.
I'm someone who waits till December. Good. November is too early for all those watching.
I agree.
December, anytime from 1st of December on, and you're in.
Currently, I have not done it yet. Let's say, I think people do it as of when December ticks over. Mm-hmm. So I think that the 1st of the 1st of December is appropriate.
I actually haven't got one up yet. I don't even have one. We've just bought this house. So I'm waiting for my partner to be here because I feel like, the first Christmas we have to do it together.
Yeah.
But I'm November as early as possible. The Christmas spirit is great. As soon as the weather starts looking nice, put Christmas tree up.
I used to believe that, it's the 1st of December. I think whatever you want. I think, yeah. I think in November is definitely acceptable.
So yeah, that was our little Christmas question segment. We hope you enjoyed listening, and we hope you learned a little bit more about the guests that we've had on previously. But yeah, I enjoyed asking those questions. It got me in the Christmas spirit when I was feeling a bit not Christmassy. So yeah, that definitely helped.
Yeah, it certainly did. And we recorded those a little while ago, but now we're certainly in the Christmas spirit. But just to turn that back on you, Lily, I'm just to quickly ask you, what is your main Christmas tradition every year? Because we get all the players' thoughts, but very rarely we delve into our own personal lives with these kind of things.
Yeah. Well, obviously here in Australia, for those listening who aren't in Australia, it's always very hot. So usually ours is we do all the present stuff, and we do nothing really all day. We go in the pool, which is always nice because it's so hot, and we have a special dinner each year. We have it's like a Sunday roast, but my mum does like stuffing wrapped in like chicken. I don't have that because I'm vegetarian. I have like cauliflower stuffed with stuffing it. It's so nice. So that's kind of like our Christmas tradition and our Christmas dinner. But yeah, the day's mostly spent outside and in the pool. What about you?
Yeah, we were talking yesterday when we did the original pre-record about Nativity. Now that's both of our Christmas traditions. That film, if you haven't seen it, get to know. It's the best Christmas film, better than any of the other ones I've watched. We watch that every Christmas Eve, which is brilliant. If you're English, you probably know what we're talking about. If you're Australian, just search it up. It's got Martin Freeman in it. What more could you want? And then Christmas Day, usually our family round, go in the pool, which if you're English and you're in -7 degree heat right now, or lack of heat, I should say. Sorry that we're seeming to flex on you a little bit. But that's our Christmas pretty much. And then for me, it will be Boxing Day, and the 27th, I'll be at the G. So that's a nice little add-on to things. But yeah, life's pretty good around this time of year, I reckon.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And I associate Christmas with how hot it gets. So that's why I haven't been feeling too Christmassy this December, because it's been a bit rainy. And it was raining last night, and I don't feel Christmassy, but Christmas is literally like 4 days away. It's ridiculous. So yeah, glad you mentioned Nativity. I forgot to mention that one. I do love Nativity. Force my family to watch it every Christmas, so it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, now to kind of break it up a bit, we had a chat to Georgia Wyllie. You may recognize that surname. Now that surname belongs to Teague Wyllie as well, who is the younger brother of Georgia. And Georgia was brilliant, wasn't she? She talked a lot about her growing up with her brother, about her own cricket career, what she hopes to achieve, and what it's like to play for Western Australia, and how she kind of hopes to cement her Western Australia place. But yeah, what did you make of that before we kick it off?
Yeah, and just quickly before we go into the interview, this was recorded a fair while ago, so some of the stuff potentially isn't relevant, but it was obviously when we recorded it. It was good to obviously speak to her about her upbringing, really, about how they had the talk with her and Teague about how they were brought up, how how their mindset was sort of formed, and all that kind of stuff, and how they've just been surrounded by cricket their whole lives. So that was the one thing that I sort of enjoyed when we chatted to her.
Yeah, so enjoy our interview with Georgia Wyllie. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Do you mind just starting off by telling us where in the world you are at the moment and what teams you're associated with currently with your cricket?
So I'm currently in Mandurah right now. So I live in Perth, but last night I drove down, staying with my parents for the night. So I'm currently playing for the WA women's team. I'm contracted with the Perth Scorchers, and domestically I play for South Perth Cricket Club.
Nice. So are you travelling with the Scorchers?
So pretty much we're travelling with 13 at the moment. So me and one of the other girls are staying back so we can train with the domestic teams and play some club cricket.
Okay, nice. So going back right to the beginning, can you tell us how you first got into cricket and what that story was for you when you were younger?
Yeah, so pretty much I grew up in a very much dominated cricket household. So my dad was a very good cricketer. My younger brother plays cricket. So I remember one day my best friend at the time actually called me up and said, do you want to go down and play some cricket? And my first thought was absolutely not. I did not like cricket whatsoever. But I went down, gave it a crack, and pretty much fell in love with it. So from then on, I started playing with the boys team down in Mandurah, and pretty much the rest is history.
So what was your pathway after that through like the women's WA setup to get where you are now? What was that pathway?
Yes, I've actually had a pretty lucky pathway, I guess. I obviously started playing with the boys, and then when I was, I think maybe 12 or 13, I got an email from the WACA saying I'd been invited to train with the state under 15 side. So had to make the drive up to the city about 3-4 times a week. And from there, I started playing for South Perth Cricket Club, went through the under 15s, under 18 pathways, was lucky enough to become a WA rookie. And then, was pretty much lucky enough to get a contract first year out of underage.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting that contract must have been an amazing feeling, that first one. Do you have any memories of where you got the call up, or what your first thoughts, your first memories when you received that contract?
Yeah, I literally remember it like it was yesterday. So I was at home. I was living at home at the time. I had actually just quit my job, finished high school. I was actually moving to Amsterdam for 6 months to play some cricket. And then obviously COVID hit. So obviously I felt like, my life was over, dreams were crushed. And I was out the front with my dad, and Rebecca Grundy, the head coach, gave me a call and she said, I heard you're off to Amsterdam. I said, no, not anymore. She goes, well, I've got some silver lining for you. You've been offered a contract. And I literally asked if she was joking. So yeah, that was a pretty special day.
Well, good to hear that she wasn't, and she certainly wasn't, which is a good sign. You spoke about your cricket mad family as well, and obviously you spoke a little bit about Teague, your brother, who plays for WA and is doing so well at the moment. Do you have any fond memories of growing up with him, and did you sort of inspire each other to play cricket, or was there sort of like a healthy competition within the household?
Oh, absolutely. I think me and my brother, we grew up playing, backyard cricket. Lots of haymakers were thrown. I remember one day especially, I started the day bowling. I got in out auto wicky, would never have been out, but Dad felt sorry for me. Then I was in for bat and I got out first ball. So that's why he's the batter and I'm the bowler, because I never was in there long enough.
The one thing I'm picking up out of that is first ball. Is that you can never get out first ball
it's
back?
A joke. Yeah, it's a joke. Yeah, it's seriously a joke. I know.
Yeah, you were very hard done by there. Very, very hard done by. But the one thing I wanted to pick up about Teague is a quote that regarded him. He made a shield ton recently, and the quote was, "Tax accountants don't celebrate when they do their tax return, so I shouldn't celebrate scoring 100." Is that the same mindset that was instilled into you when you were growing up playing cricket?
Right.
Or
So I can guarantee you that the day I score my first class 100, my helmet is off, my bat is in the air, my feet are up, day is done. So that was not installed into me, but that's just Teague. That is just his nature. He's always been that way, and I think that is why I guess he is so good, because he is so level, and he's a freak.
He's doing really, really well for himself, which is great to see. But you obviously made your WA state debut in February against Lily South Australia. Do you remember who it was you dismissed, who took your first wicket, and how was the celebrations? Were the celebrations muted, or were you going mental?
I'm not gonna lie, I think it might have been Tegan McFarland. I don't know.
Well done.
Maybe.
Well
is
done.
it? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I'm completely honest, that whole day is just a complete ball of anxiety in my head. I remember I took the new ball and my arms were literally shaking at the top of my mouth. I cannot remember that day, which I hate, because that will go down as one of the greatest days of my life. So I'm kind of bummed about that, but yeah, pretty stoked with that.
Yeah, and a lot of players aspire to reach the top level. So to play for your state and to verse all these states, what was it like for that dream to kind of become a reality?
Oh, honestly, it's a childhood dream. I guess from when I was about 10 years old, I knew I wanted to play cricket for the rest of my life. And I remember the day before we'd kind of flown out to Adelaide, I found out I was debuting. My parents actually surprised me at the airport, which was pretty special. So I didn't think they were going to make it over. So to have them there with me, that's something I'll cherish for the rest of my life, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So also then contracting with the Scorchers. Now being in and around that team, you were there for '06 and then weren't in the squad last year, but you're back in it this year. So what's it like to be in and around that squad, and are there certain things that you've learned and picked up from being around that group of people?
Oh, it is absolutely unreal. I literally pinched myself. I know the other day at Lilac, I was bowling next to Marizanne Cup and I literally just had to take a second and just be like, is this real life? Like I'm literally bowling next to my idol. And that's the thing, right? Like it's, as much as it sucks not playing, just being in that environment, it's such a surreal moment and something, yeah, it's, I can't even put it into words, to be honest.
And then back to like growing up and then reaching those dreams and reaching those goals. Did you have any specific cricket idols growing up?
Yeah, so I guess I didn't actually know female cricket was a thing until I think I was about 12 or 13. So I looked up to Johnson a lot. Being a left armer, steaming in, I guess I always wanted to bowl like him, which is probably why I'm a bit of a round arm bowler. But I think from a female space, obviously Elise Perry has been an absolute pioneer of our game. So yeah, I think watching her and then I guess being in the hub a few years ago, you know, she said hi to me and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like this is absolutely awesome. But yeah, I think now that I'm a little bit older and I can kind of appreciate female cricket and how hard it is, I think Beth Mooney is absolutely unreal. You know, she's been so good for so long. I really respect her and her game.
Yeah, and obviously being in and around the Scorcher team and being in the WA team, you've got a front row seat quite a lot of the time to some of Beth Mooney's work. What is it like, obviously, not only calling her an idol, but calling her a teammate as well?
Oh, it's so cool. But I think my favourite things about the teams I'm in is, yeah, they're good cricketers, but they're actually great humans as well. And I think that's just so important and why female cricket especially is so powerful, because everyone's a good human and they've actually got other things outside of cricket that they enjoy, you know. So yeah, I just think it's so cool. And yeah, they're great humans.
Yeah, and just on that, obviously being great humans, the morale seems pretty good in that Scorcher dressing room. We've spoken to a couple of Scorchers players, and they all say the same, that the morale is amazing. So on top of the cricket and on top of the actual stuff that gets played on the field, how good is it to be a part of a team that seems so good off it?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's a great team. So everyone gets along really, really well. We all enjoy each other's company. So I think that's what translates into really good on-field performances as well, because everyone actually gets along very well off it.
Yeah, that's good. And obviously you haven't played a game this year for the Scorchers, which wouldn't be the best for you, but do you think that you're playing an extra role in upholding that morale? Do you think you've got, you know, a little bit more work to do off the field because you're not playing as much cricket?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had those conversations in the change rooms. You know, my role might not necessarily be, you know, open the bowling or being in the 11, but my role is to be a sponge to the older players and keep pushing people for their spots and asking as many questions as I can. And I think that's what's really, really special about our group, is they're really receptive to younger players like me.
Yeah, and that's awesome to see, because you want the next generation to come up, and obviously you're a part of the next wave, and that's good to see that, you know, that the older players are starting to inspire you. But just on that, what do you think the best bit of advice is that you've received, maybe from a coach or from, you know, maybe an older teammate of yours that you can go, well, right, I can, you know, hold on to this for a decade to help improve my cricket?
Yeah, so I actually heard this one a few weeks ago, or not a few weeks, maybe a few months ago, and it's actually really stuck with me. And it's, performance gets you in the room, but attitude keeps you there. And I think a lot of kids, you know, they think they have to hit all these big sixes and they have to perform every single game. But when in reality, yeah, performance plays a part, but your attitude and your dedication and, you know, the way you're punctual at training, I actually think that says more about you as an athlete than sometimes performance does.
Yeah, that's a brilliant one. That's a wonderful one. But just on the next generation, you've spoken about, you know, obviously being a young cricketer and wanting to make it up to the top. Do you feel like you've got also a role to inspire the generation, you know, below you, in a sense, is to say, well, you know, like the young kids in the game or young girls wanting to play cricket? Do you think you've got a role in inspiring that next generation? And do you think of yourself as an inspiration to younger cricketers?
Yeah, I think that's I feel like that's the coolest part about female cricket and where it's headed is, you know, we are role models to the next generation, and we have a platform to inspire. Do I think I'm an inspiration yet? Probably not. But I think I'm just trying to do my part in, being a good athlete, but being a good human and giving back where I can.
Just one more on that. How good do you think women's cricket is for bringing a community together, whether it be club cricket or WBBL cricket or WNCL cricket, to bring that whole community together and say, well, right, you know, this is what women's cricket is in Australia, and we can put that to the world?
Yeah, and I think you make a good point. I feel like female cricket is in such a unique position where we do have a bit of a community. Um, and yeah, I think I don't know what it is, and I can't give you an answer, but I see the direction we're heading, and it's really exciting because I think we are bringing females together, and we're kind of changing the way we view sport. It's not a boys' sport anymore, and it's just sport. I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, still kind of on Big Bash. Now, how are you preparing yourself? Is there a certain way you are if you end up being called up to the Scorchers by the end of the tournament? You know, there's certain things that you're preparing for. Do you feel like you'd be ready for that?
Yeah, I think it's just trusting your preparation. I think I'm a hard worker by nature, and I think it's just trusting all of that and using the data behind you. But yeah, I guess for me, it's just making sure I'm having every single training session with a purpose and working on what I need to. And if I was to jump in that position, I know my role and I know my game, and I know I can execute because I've been doing it at training. So yeah, I think it just comes down to doing the hard work early, and you can cash it in later.
And that's the mindset that gets people far. And you talked about mindset before and how important that is. But you know, obviously you are still waiting in the wings from a Scorcher's point of view. But what are the things you're picking up from either players or coaches to say, well, right, this is, you know, what's going to help me take the next step?
Yeah, and I think it's pretty clear for me. I guess being a left armer, my job is to swing the new ball and pitch it up and bowl full. And I think that's pretty much as simple as I'm keeping it. And if I make it any more complex, then I'll probably just confuse myself as well. So yeah, I think I've been trying some new fields. I've been trying some new variations. Coming around the wicket as a left armer can be pretty crucial in time. So I think for me, it's just adding new niches to my game here and there, and just making sure that I put my hand up.
Yeah, and obviously you don't want to give too much away in case that you get, you know, thrown into the limelight. We don't want to be giving the opposition, you know, all of your arsenal. But you know, how good is it knowing that you're adding new tricks to your game and you're adding new things to your arsenal to become more versatile and perhaps be more ready for selection?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the direction of women's cricket is you can't just have two balls anymore. You have to have all these little variations. Otherwise, people will get on top of you pretty quickly. But I think that's just really exciting, to be honest. I think the more professional that women's cricket gets, you know, that's going to become the standard.
Yeah, and obviously the standard is raising very, very quickly, and it's wonderful to see for all involved. But if we go back to WBBL, you were first signed in WBBL 06 and didn't play, but you know, the first season at WBBL level, obviously you're not an old cricketer, you've got your best cricket in front of you. So what was that like in WBBL 06? You know, the competition's still growing and still getting more eyes on it, but what was that like being around that team in that first year of yours?
Oh, when I say I was a kid in the candy shop, it was unreal. I mean, you're locked in a hotel with every other team, and you know, you're walking to breakfast and Elise Perry's sitting there with Meg Lanning. Like it's unbelievable, and I'm so grateful for that experience. I know I didn't play, but just being in and around those conversations, and you know, just being in that environment, that just holds you in such good stead for the future.
And of course, WBBL 6 was the hub year, which is what you allude to there. Do you reckon that helped or harmed your cricket? Was it one of those things where everyone's locked in a room? Were you sick and tired of your teammates, or was it one of those things where it's like you're a sponge and you're just sticking to them like glue?
Yeah, I guess I was pretty lucky. Two of my best friends were local replacement players, so I guess we don't have any responsibilities at home. You know, I just locked up and left my apartment. Didn't have any other real responsibilities, so it was more like an 8-week holiday, and I just got paid to play cricket. Like, it's pretty cool.
That's not half bad, that is it? When you put it like that, 8-week holiday,
exactly.
Just to do something you love, it's not too
Absolutely.
bad.
Yeah, with your idols, literally walking to breakfast with 50 of your idols. Yeah, tough going.
That's something that we've noticed, like a bit of a pattern when we spoke to the younger cricketers in that 06 season, is they were the ones who were like, yeah, loved it, learned so much, got to just walk past all these cool people.
Yeah.
And the older players are like, I kind of wanted to leave. It's a bit boring.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good how how you were able to have like such close accessibility to these people and to learn from these people. That's really awesome, I think. But
yeah, absolutely.
Now, obviously, you know, if we move on from WBBL 6 to WBBL 07, you were left out of the Scorchers squad entirely, and the team obviously got their first title, the maiden title in the club's history. Was that a bittersweet feeling, seeing obviously teammates that you're friends with and you have a great morale and are a part of, seeing them lift the trophy while you're not involved?
Yeah, isn't that always the way? The one year you're not there, they win. But nah, and I've been a Scorchers fan my whole life, so there was no bitterness from me. I was so stoked to see some of my mates lift that trophy and have a medal around their neck, and we were definitely out there celebrating with them. So yeah, very, very special moment, and hopefully we can go back to back.
You mentioned there about being a Scorchers fan. So to go from being in the crowd one moment to watching, them win games, hit runs, and then in maybe next season, even this season, to possibly be that one where younger people are watching you take the wickets, hit the winning runs. What's that like for you to know that that could become a reality really soon?
Oh, it's seriously unbelievable. And I remember my first year on contract, I had a bit of a full circle moment for my 12th birthday. Me and my little brother got a tour of the Wacker, and I actually sat in Nicole Bolton's change room. I got a photo, and then a few years later, I'm actually her teammate. Like stuff like that, it blows my mind, and I'm so grateful for it every single day. It's so cool. Like, what a position to be in. I'm so blessed.
It's amazing. And then talking about the move from WBBL, now WNCL is on pause until after the Big Bash ends. So you played in the first couple of games this season for the WNCL for Western Australia. So what's your experience been like so far within the Western Australian team? You've taken a couple of wickets. Western Australia are in a good spot at the moment. So what's that experience been like for you?
Oh, I absolutely adore this team. And I think adding, characters like Beth Mooney and Lily Mills from Queensland, I think it just makes us, not just a better cricket team, but a better just unit in general. We're all good humans, and I think that's what we pride ourselves on. We look after our mates. So yeah, it's a really, really nice organisation to be a part of.
Yeah, and like we said, it's obviously on pause and then it resumes after WBBL. So is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to about joining back with the Western Australia group? And have you got any certain plans in place or anything like that? Obviously, you probably can't tell too much, but...
I'll tell you all my secrets. But no, I think we're just looking forward to getting out there in the yellow and black again. We have a lot of pride playing for that uniform. We really enjoy it. And I think we know we've got a really good crack this year. And so I think we're going out with that belief. And, last year we were a really young team, but I think a season like that will hold us in pretty good stead, because we've got 15, 16 on our list, and we've all had a really good experience. So I think, yeah, really excited to get amongst it.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's going to be a super exciting season. Do you reckon you can go all the way with the Western Australia team? I mean, obviously you'd say yes, but
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think our group is capable of anything, and I think the most exciting thing is we're all so young still, and we've got so much time, and it's hard to see that now, but when you take a step back, this group is seriously capable of anything.
Yeah, we're saying like a few of the teams lose players who are contracted with Australia. So I think Alana King, Beth Mooney. But what's that dynamic going to be like within that team when they leave? What do you think is going to happen there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt that any team with Beth Mooney and Alana King in it are going to be better teams. But I think the most exciting thing is we've got local players and WA grown players who do stand up, and they do play an important role. So, Tilly Carmichael, Chloe Paro, even, Mads, they've all had really good stints in WNCL so far. And I think it's, our batting lineup is seriously strong with them in it as well. So I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, and if you look at a bowl like Alana King, obviously you and Alana are different bowlers, but do you think that'll give you more opportunities, maybe when Alana does go off to play for Australia? Do you think that'll give you more opportunities to shine with the ball for Western Australia?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that's the plan. I think, there's another 10 overs right there. So I'm just doing whatever I can, and if those 10 overs are mine, then I'm stoked, and if not, I'm just stoked to be a part of the group still. So either way, I think, yeah, we're just excited to get out there.
And if you go back to your own personal accolades, WA Rising Stars, not a bad one to win. Obviously, you and Teague have, the trophy cabinet on an individual sense is building very quickly. But what was that sort of feeling like, winning such an award, and how prestigious an award is that from your point of view?
Oh, absolutely, and it's still really surreal. But I guess I don't really look at accolades now. I feel like that's something that you look at kind of when you're done your career. So I'm still here to do a job, and I feel like I haven't played my best cricket yet. And I think, as annoying as it is, I think that's really exciting. So I'm just really excited for what this year is going to hold.
So then also talking about something you do outside of cricket. Now you're a Watability ambassador. Can you tell us a bit more about this, and what why you wanted to join up with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So What Ability is a NDIS provider, community access support worker group, I guess. And I guess I love helping people, and I've kind of grown up with helping kids with special needs and disabilities. So it's something that I'm pretty passionate about. So when I got the opportunity to become a support worker and then an ambassador, I really jumped on it. Obviously, it's hard in cricket season. You can't really do much of it with traveling and lots of busy schedule. But yeah, I definitely see it being an avenue I'll take post cricket.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And what sort of things does that include? What sort of things do you do within that?
Role. Yeah.
Role, yeah. Well,
yeah.
Within that,
oh, it's so ridiculous. It doesn't even sound like work. I have a participant, and we went go-karting. We've been bowling with, what is it called, a bowling alley. I've been swimming. It doesn't even sound like job, but it's, for these kids, they actually can't do that on their own. So happiness just comes first. And if going go-karting will make them happy, we'll go there. If going, on a trip to the park will make them happy, we'll go there too. So yeah, it's just giving these kids opportunity to do things that we take for granted every day.
That's lovely. I really like that. That's brilliant. Would you be kind of like you are an ambassador, but would you also be an ambassador in order to get more people involved? Is that something that you would recommend people to do if possible?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a few girls from our cricket team. So Ashley Day, she's a keen support worker as well. So it's kind of, they've just established themselves in Perth. So I think, my job is to kind of normalise being a support worker and showing how cool it can be helping other people. So yeah, as much as my job is to do it, it's actually to promote it and give it a bit of a platform as well.
That's wonderful. I really, really like that. And then going back to cricket, very briefly, what would you say, aside from the things that we've probably already mentioned, are your goals for the future, whether that be short term or long term?
Yeah, so I think more of a short term goal for me is to just become a really established and consistent WNCL player. And then obviously long term goal would be a baggy green. I think that's every cricketer's goal. So hopefully one day.
Hopefully, I think we'd like to see that for sure. And then, do you have a favourite cricket memory, whether that be throughout any point in your life?
I think, okay, this is weird because we actually lost this game, but I remember a state under 19s game, and we were versing New South Wales, and we took it to a super over. And up until that point, WA, we were never really strong. But I just remember this moment, and it clicked in my head, and I was like, you know what, we off these guys. Like, we are actually good enough. And just the adrenaline of that game, and just the highs and lows. Cricket, unbelievable sport, and that's just one day I'll always remember.
Yeah, it's an insane sport, isn't it? The things that it can bring, the things that it can do.
Yeah,
absolutely mental. But yeah, so now we like to kind of wrap up our interviews with some quick fire questions. So I think, Ollie, you were going to take them this time.
So we're going to start off with a couple of cricket related ones. We're going to swap to some non-cricket related ones as well. So we're going to start off with red ball cricket or white ball cricket.
White ball.
All right. If you're stuck on a desert island, hypothetically, what person would you like with you, and what two things would you be wanting with you?
Oh, that is a great question. I think I'd probably, I actually don't know. Maybe my mum, because I love my mum, and probably my brother, because he would be really good entertainment. Then I think probably a water bottle and some sunscreen.
Nice.
Logical.
Cool.
Like it, yeah.
Very nice. So let's say you're in the final over of a game for WA. Would you rather win that game with 3 sixes or with a hat trick?
Oh, can I say both? Maybe a hat trick.
If you did both, you would break some sort of record. I don't know what it is.
Exactly.
You
I'm
would
here for that.
You go viral.
I have to go hat trick.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Probably being a bowler, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Favorite shapes, flavour?
Oh, barbecue.
Yeah.
Common answer.
Without doubt. Yeah.
Beach or backyard cricket?
Beach.
Nice. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Good. But you look like you were going to say absolutely not. So I was like, I'm glad.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Hawaiian pizza. Yeah.
No,
Hawaiian pizza has my heart. Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Nice.
Good.
Orange juice or apple juice?
Orange juice.
Nice.
Good call. Good call.
Yeah.
Favorite cuisine?
Indian.
Great call. All right. So we're going to switch this one up a little bit from what we've originally been doing. But let's say you're on a game show. You've got to phone a friend to win you $1 million. You get to pick one cricketer. And if you want to choose someone else who's not a cricketer, you can as well.
So cricketer, I will pick Ash Day because I know she will answer her phone any hour of the day. So she is extremely reliable. And then non-cricketer, probably my dad. My dad is extremely reliable.
So a bit of a how's that folklore on this one. Is porridge a cereal? Yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Do you have a reason as to why you would think that?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. You just automatically go with yes.
We get a lot of interesting answers to that.
Yeah, you never think of it until you're asked it, and then you're kind of like, well.
No, genuinely.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay.
That is all the questions we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. I'll look forward to seeing you play for WA back at the end of the year.
Perfect. Thanks for having me, guys.
So that was Western Australia and Scorchers player Georgia Wyllie. We thank Georgia for coming on the podcast and taking time out to speak to us. It was quite a wonderful interview. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it was. She was great, and really excited to see what she does with her future. Obviously, a bright star in the future, and we really look forward to seeing, like I said, what she can do for Western Australia and the Scorchers. So yeah, thank you, Georgia, for your time. So next week we will be taking a bit of a break. I think it's a pretty well-deserved break for both of us. Obviously, I've not taken a week off since the beginning of the year. It has been a full year of editing every single week. So I need a bit of a break. You need a bit of a break. But we will be back in the new year. And the new year is an exciting time because it's coming up to 1 year of How's That. So make sure you stay tuned in the new year for some exciting things that will happen there. But yeah, that was this week's episode. Like we said, hopefully we got everybody into the Christmas spirit a little bit at least. But yeah, I'm really excited for Christmas. Are you excited for Christmas?
Yeah, I'm excited for Christmas and New Year, which, quick mention, of course, we've got the New Year's Eve game at Adelaide Oval, which I'll be there for. I'm coming over to watch the game. So we'll be filming a little bit of stuff for the socials, I would think, just to, whet the How's It appetite. Even if it's not an episode, we'll film a little bit of stuff to, get you in the New Year's Eve mood as well. But yeah, it's going to be hopefully a great festive season, a lot of cricket. I'm really looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun. Yeah,
absolutely. So like we said, we'll be back in the new year and we'll make sure we talk all about our experience at the New Year's Eve game. Hopefully it's a strikers win, but I know you're not thinking the same.
No.
But yeah, if you wanted to get in contact with us, you can do so by finding us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok at How's That TCP. You can send us an email at howsthatthecricketpodcast@gmail.com, or you can leave us a rating on Spotify as well, which would be greatly appreciated. Thank you once again, everybody, for listening for 50 episodes. That's pretty incredible. So a big thank you from me and Ollie. But yeah, that's it from me this week. We hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, me as well. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone. All the best.
How's that? You missed about